we're just going to forge ahead until we conquer it. It is frustrating. It's disappointing. I see the potential, with our team. I really do. But that ability to, sustain or have a game and get a quality win and then do it again and then rinse and repeat and do it again. That's what all the very good teams are able to do. Is they're just more consistent.
Made them so tough.
It was more our defense that was lacking. The lack of, on the 3-point line, they're just getting to open shots, breaking us down, kickouts, open shot, and we're NBA players, so open shots are pretty easy to make.
How hard is it keeping just the mindset and consistency? Spo was talking about the offense affecting the defense. It maybe being a theme of the year. How hard is that kind of keeping that consistency?
We're pretty deep, almost all-star break, and we're still talking about it, so it's obviously been a part of the whole season, and we kind of get away from it and get a lot better, and then somehow end back here. So something we got to talk about and figure out. It's 2 days off now.
You always talk about playing your game no matter what, but when there are 3 starters sidelined, does your mindset change at all, I guess, in maybe increasing aggression or maybe your role changing a little bit?
Yeah, all the drives and the shots get distributed to everyone when they're not playing. So it's of course going to be few more looks, few more opportunities to go downhill, and when they're not creating for us. But I much rather have them on the court with me.
A lot of emotions, obviously, with the 06 team in the building. Did you guys get any good moments from being around those guys the last 48 hours?
Yeah, that was pretty special just to see everyone together yesterday, and it was an amazing event, and just to see how close and how good friends they are. To this day, they probably haven't seen each other much, but that bond is still there from that championship, and yeah, just to see Pat really happy was fun. Yeah.
Thanks, Pelle.
Also, obviously, you were speaking last game about sick and tired of being sick and tired, of course, just because of the frustrations. And can you just kind of talk about the frustrations from tonight, especially where kind of a good opportunity, celebration of the 2006 team, and then you obviously get the loss result there.
Yeah, again, frustrating loss. We just couldn't get it done defensively tonight. They let us up from the 3. Something that's kind of been a theme for us in the last couple games. We just gotta continue to get better. The season doesn't end today. Still got a lot left. As much as this sucks for us and we're not happy about it, we gotta continue to stay positive, continue to stick together, and figure this thing out.
Jaime, you're at a point where you don't necessarily know who's going to show up every day just because of injuries and absences and things like that. Now you're going through a couple of days when everything is in the wind. What is this period like until you get back on the court on Friday in Boston, knowing there is a trade deadline, knowing things could change? So what's this period like? You've been through a few of these already.
It's the NBA. It's the modern NBA. It's just the way it is. Whoever we got out there, we take the approach that we always got whatever it takes to win. No matter who's out there, obviously guys, dealing with things, want them to get better, get all the rest they can, so that they're healthy when they come back to us. And, until then, the guys out there, we're going to try to hold it down the best we can.
Spo and you guys have talked a lot about maybe lacking consistency, and sustainability is a word that keeps coming up throughout the season. Is there anything identifiable that might be missing or that you guys are looking at in terms of why you can't manage to stay as consistent as you guys want to be?
I think if we had that answer, this would be a lot easier. But that's what us as players and the coaches we got to figure out. We're continuing to watch film, we're continuing to discuss, continuing to try to find solutions. And so far we haven't gotten them. And we're going to continue to try to find them. We're not stopping. I believe in these guys. I believe in this locker room. And, just got to keep pushing forward. Season doesn't end today, so got a lot more left to play. Want to finish out this last stretch of games strong before the All-Star break, and then, come back together. Hopefully everyone's healthy by the time we get back and, continue a big push.
Things that frustrates coach and the team a lot is that, one night you can score 134 and the next you'll feel disconnected. Is that what happened here today and just the level of frustration you guys are dealing with?
It's just frustrating because we can still win with 115. We can still do that. It's just we basically won in almost every category except for threes. And as a team, we gotta understand that we're gonna have nights where we don't hit threes. So we gotta really lock in and do the little things, but also that that 3-point line is a big factor in the game. So for us is winning all the in between the lines and getting stops, but the 3-point line has to be a emphasis on stopping.
Obviously, it could be a tricky time with the deadline on Thursday. What's your message to the team as you kind of enter this uncertain 48 hours as the captain?
Control what you can control, and that's the thing that's tough because it's easier said than done. And you try to ease guys' minds by just I tell them winning makes it easier to go to the trade deadline or whatever may happen. Makes it easier for everybody. So for us is we got what it's Thursday. See what happens, but control what you can control. Can't control what happens up there.
Maybe last 4 or 5 losses, I think there's been a pretty significant shooting disparity between makes and misses.
Threes.
Yes,
Yeah.
But is it just the makes of the problem, or is it when you see Atlanta taking 53s overall? Do you see that amount being allowed, as in terms of attempts being an issue that needs to be corrected as well?
Yeah. We understand. A lot of those guys over there are jump shooters. So knowing your personnel, you gotta understand it might be 1 or 2 guys that are really drivers, but the other 3 are stickers. So when you go into the huddle or when you check into the game, you gotta understand who's a sticker and who's not, and you just gotta win that closeout.
Game that kind of afterwards, that one of the things that frustrates you guys is when you can score 131 or whatever you did last game and then feel more disconnected the next. Is that what happened here, or what else was going on?
No, I don't know the context. I don't want to agree or disagree. It was more about we had an uneven offensive first half. Where we missed some. And then we started to press a little bit. But then it just absolutely affected our resolve and commitment defensively. We are a very good defensive team, except for when we don't make shots. There's a lot of teams in this league, but I don't think there's such a variance where you can be, top 6 or 7 in the league in defense and then have, these kind of nights, or like we had on Saturday night versus the Bulls, we're giving up 20 plus threes, due to some, things that are happening offensively. So we just have to conquer this. We have to get better with it. We have to get better with our consistency. We had won back-to-back games once in January. It was a great opportunity, to take a step forward, and we didn't. They played great. They moved the ball. They had us scrambling. I don't think we really helped ourselves defensively. Really weren't down, coiled, ready to make plays like we're capable of. And then they just buried us from the three-point line. If you just look at the stat sheet, even though it's not true, you could say that we outplayed them in a lot of different areas, except for the three-point line. But that would be partially true.
I was going to ask about that consistency. How frustrating is it that you guys haven't been able to stack
we're just going to forge ahead until we conquer it. It is frustrating. It's disappointing. I see the potential, with our team. I really do. But that ability to, sustain or have a game and get a quality win and then do it again and then rinse and repeat and do it again. That's what all the very good teams are able to do. Is they're just more consistent in the approach and the game. The game it should be more consistent to the identity night in, night out.
Erik, especially this time of year with what might happen or not on Thursday, I know coaches always will say they have enough, but how difficult has it been with players in and out? I mean, tonight without Wiggs, without Hero, without Norm, that has to have an impact, doesn't it?
No, look, it's the league. It's not exclusive to us. I know probably people think it's just it's just the Miami Heat. We have people out. You can't expect who's going to play or who's not. Watch the National Basketball Association. You have no idea who's going to play on a given night. You play a team one night, next time you play them or you watch them on TV and you're prepping for them. By the time they get to you, there's going to be a couple different guys out. You have to learn how to handle that. The very good teams, are able to find a way to play consistent to their identity and win. I will say, and it's not an excuse, but it was a very emotional and inspiring, 24 hours. We have an event like last night, which was spectacular. To have all these champions and Hall of Famers come together and celebrate, something so special, and then our team is there, and it left a big-time impression. And then today, at the game, you see all of them at the game. I know our guys, the want to is there, and if anything, tonight it was probably we wanted to more than on any other night. The guys they know who those Hall of Famers are. They want to play well in front of them, and we just weren't able, to do it. And, it's a bummer. I don't think it took anything away from that celebration, but man, it would have been awesome to have that gala, that celebration last night. Have a kick-ass win tonight, and have the halftime, that we were able to have, and it would have been a perfect 24 hours.
I don't want to be reductive and just make it about variance, but when you look at the last 4 or 5 losses, there is a huge shooting disparity. Is there a thread that you're noticing just in terms of threes that you are getting and giving up in these last chunk of losses?
This game was a little bit more familiar to the Saturday night Chicago game, just in terms of the pace and how they moved us around, and then being committed to making those multiple efforts to get them off the line. Whether we're going to knock down 23s or shoot 40+%, that's not necessarily something you can control. We control the paint, our decisions when we get in the paint. I thought we had some good looks, from three. The ones that we had, from paint attacks are the ones you have to take. But we definitely have to do a better job, more capable of it too, of taking away big three-point shooting nights. Where we lost them on the drive or different situations. We'd turn our head and then they relocate and then it end up being a wide open three. If we do that better and down, coiled, and ready, maybe instead of a 21 3-point night, it could be 14, 15, much more manageable.
Coach, how hard is it to guard the corner? It seems that most of the help defense is coming from that area, but sometimes they, can't get back on time.
When we're at our best, we're able to do it. It's a mentality. I say it over and over. If you want to be a great defense, you want to win in this league, you have to commit to doing really tough things. It's a highly skilled league, and it's a league that can attack off the dribble. multiple players can do it at multiple positions and ignite from three, and teams are playing faster. So there's a lot of things you have to manage, but that's the first commitment you have to make, is that you're going to do a lot of tough things. I don't think we had that full resolve tonight, and obviously we paid the price for that. All right, they're covered.